It's the day after the Warriors improved to 5-0 in the preseason, taking down the Los Angeles Lakers. A lot to love with the Golden State Warriors right now. And the narrative entering this season is there's absolutely no chance this team, as currently constructed, can win an NBA championship. But why not? On today's Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, I said it. We're teasing that. We're also talking Draymond Green in depth. We are not talking potential hypothetical off-the-court issues and being suspended. No, we're not. We're talking about what he brings on the floor because a media member recently called him washed. This is Locked On Warriors. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The best way to help the show, if you like the show, is give it as many thumbs up as you can on YouTube. Subscribe wherever you get your audio podcasts. That's where you can take us on the go. Watch us live on YouTube, or we'll be waiting for you the next day on the audio podcast. Charlie Walter, formerly at 95.7 The Game in San Francisco, also covered the team for CBS News Bay Area, KPIX, in that same building. Matt Kolsky joins me today. He was co-host of mine at 95.7 The Game. You can hear him on KNBR, a longtime Bay Area sports journalist. Dare I say journalist? No, sports personality. Let's call him that. Welcome, Matthew. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors and their chances this season of winning an NBA title solely because they're 5-0 in the preseason. But no, they look good, man. Welcome in.
Hey, I don't want to be called a journalist just because I'd hate to insult the 4 or 5 legitimate journalists that are still left in the world.
He's a lowercase J, everyone. Matt Kolsky is a lowercase J.
Yeah, I've been around this team a while. I'm really excited to get to whoever said Draymond is washed. I'm interested in that.
Okay, I did not rip the soundbite. I didn't take the time, but you could take my words for it because we posted it on our show yesterday. It was Matt George from Locked On Kings.
Oh.
Little
Locked On infighting going on.
Yeah, a little California fighting going on. Speaking of California, Warriors win the battle between NorCal, Southern Cal on Tuesday night. They take them down by 14. Warriors have pretty much rolled through the preseason, minus one game against the Kings at Chase Center, in which they had to come back late. But a lot of the talk right now about Golden State surrounds the fact that there hasn't been a lot of opportunities to see their starters against other team starters and the real rotations that we'll see. And yes, that's 100% correct. And sure, they've been dominated by big men, but as a lot of commenters and listeners of this show have alluded to, Anthony Davis does, in fact, shred anyone. And you could still win in spite of that, as the Warriors did by 14. And as many teams have done over the years, it's not always been the team with the best bigs that wins the NBA championship. But let's just pose the simple question, Kolsky, because the consensus is this team can't win a championship as currently constructed. But why not?
The short answer to why not, I think, for most people, is that they don't have the necessary top-end talent to do it. And
what's so much different now than 21-22 is my counter to that.
Different Andrew Wiggins, and that might be it. The league is better. I mean, the real answer is the league is better, right? The teams that they beat on the way to that 22 title were largely either too hurt or too young to really do it. The Warriors took advantage of that. I'm not trying to discredit that title at all, but a healthy Western Conference this season is going to be much tougher to get through. Now, I do think they've got an opportunity with the depth of the roster to be a better regular season team than most people expect. And that could make things a little easier in the playoffs, depending on where they land. I think they are, with the depth they have and a good, healthy season from Steph Curry and Draymond, they are more than capable of being in that sort of 4 to 6 range of real playoff slots with, actual guaranteed playoff games on the schedule. And once you're there, Steph Curry's still on the team. So anything's possible. But unless Jonathan Kuminga has a really dramatic improvement, or Andrew Wiggins, honestly, even 2022 Wiggins, if he's that, Steph and that Andrew Wiggins are still one of the weakest top 2 in the Western Conference. I mean, if you just go down it, right? In OKC, you've got Shea and either Chet or Jalen Williams, right? Even if you say Shea and Steph cancel each other out, Kuminga has a long way to go to be Jalen Williams, and there's no Chet on this roster. If the Timberwolves may not be in that top 4 anymore. That's an interesting discussion, but they have Ant, who is an explosive young player. The Denver Nuggets obviously have the best player in basketball, plus Jamal Murray, who when healthy is very, very good, better certainly than what Kuminga and Wiggins are. So it's just they're gonna be shorter on top end talent, which tends to matter more in the playoffs. In the regular season, they might be able to get around that. And maybe if no trade presents itself, the best hope in terms of title contention is that by the time you get to the end of the season, Kuminga has really developed into something you can call a second star, and or Andrew Wiggins is playing at a really high level.
Well, I find it interesting because when you're talking second star, we're obviously 100% talking stats, right? We're talking points. We're talking, because if you want to talk overall player, and you're the biggest Draymond Green fan out there, right? And what everyone has said over the years, dating back to this documentary that I saw like 3 months ago, every single person that they interviewed, they talked to Matt Barnes, heart and soul, of course. They talked to Richard Jefferson, said he was, there's a reason. Let's put it this way. There's a reason why he's here and Klay Thompson's not. Amon Shumpert of the Cleveland Cavs that played him plenty of times in the championship said it's just like the attention to detail. He knew the plays that they were running. He was telling, you see the video, he's grabbing people's jerseys, telling them to go here. He's saying, don't hedge, help here. He's just the heart and soul, the orchestrator of the defense. So why don't we bring up that name as a star for the Golden State Warriors? That answer is coming up, Matt Kolsky. They have to wait. That's coming up on Locked On Warriors. Hey, NFL fans, you could start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play. It's so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed. It's when you place your first $5 bet. You can do it on FanDuel.com. If one of the props you want to take this year, you only got a couple days to do it. The Golden State Warriors at 43.5. That's the win total. They won more games than that last year. 43.5. If they hit 44, you're a winner. If they hit 43, you are a loser. If you want to place that bet, you can do it on FanDuel.com. Place a $5 bet, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. You've waited long enough, and Matt Kolsky gives the long-awaited answer to Matt George of Locked On Kings, saying that Draymond Green at this point is just about washed in his opinion. And even Matt Kolsky talking about how the Warriors just aren't complete. They don't have that player next to Steph Curry. He's talking offensively. The Warriors, what they've done this preseason is shoot a lot of threes and show that, with ball movement and with technicians and a Steph Curry and a Buddy Hield, you could score points. So what's the deal with Draymond Green? How do we feel with where he stands in his career going into year 34, 35?
Before I answer the Draymond part, just to tie, he is a star. I love Draymond. He's a star. He's a Hall of Famer. But you need that second bucket getter. You do. And they had 3 when Kevin Durant was here. And that, arguably the best team of all time.
What if you have 4 18-point guys, though? You spread the wealth.
It doesn't matter. In the
have to
playoffs,
have number 2.
In the playoffs, you kind of do.
You told me a few weeks ago, though, until it's, something hasn't been done until it's been done. Why can't it be done?
I mean, sure, there's that much hope. That's exactly how much hope there is.
We're back, everyone.
Yes. No, I mean, you're right. And I did say those things, and I believe those things. But if you're asking me to handicap it, when they triple team Steph in the fourth quarter of a close playoff game, who's getting buckets? And it's all well and good to say, well, they'll move the ball and find the open man. But oftentimes it's not that easy. And oftentimes when it comes to those winning moments in the postseason, having 2 guys that can go do it offensively is pretty important for the last 20 years anyway. All of that being said, I don't think it's that much more likely to do it without a second scoring star than it is that Kuminga might become that second scoring star, right? I mean, we've already seen he's capable at times of just going and getting a bucket. First bucket of the game yesterday was him facing up Anthony Davis and just taking him to the rack. So it's the possibilities are there. But I wouldn't say they're the most likely possibilities. And I think it's reasonable for people to be down on this Warriors team as a title contender. And I don't know. I think that's sort of exactly where they'd want to be right now. The last thing they would want at this stage of the team is to be have expectations be too big rather than too small.
So Draymond Green, last year, highest scoring total since 2018. Rebounding's been the same since 2018. The steals and blocks are down. You are extremely biased, as you have for those of you on YouTube, you see in the background, along with his I don't give a damn about no damn Drake Night by KD. He also has Draymond Green back there.
Artistically rendered, by the way, a beautiful drawing of Draymond Green. Listen, I'm going to cut you off because these things don't matter, right? You're right. Highest scoring average, shot 39% from 3 last year. That's all great. I mean, those are signals he's not washed. He's obviously in as good shape as he's ever been in. But the bigger point is the record. I don't know if you have it in front of you, but I believe it was 15-17 without him last season on an under 500 team. Do the math. I mean, that's 32 of 82. So in the other 50, they were 31-19. That's it.
Winners win.
He's not washed.
Make winning plays. Yeah.
He's not washed, full stop. There's the evidence. I don't know what to say to guys like that, because when people say things like that, it makes it clear to me that you never understood the value of Draymond Green, that you never understood why he's a Hall of Famer and why he was so critical to the Warriors winning titles. It's great when he scores some points, but it's how he functions as a connector and playmaker on offense. It's how he functions as just a full-on, the rising tide raises all boats. That Draymond Green is just a defensive rising tide. He's the friggin' tide on defense. Everyone is better out there when he's out there. So he's never going to be a scoring star. And that is something that this team, on paper is kind of lacking right now. But to think he doesn't still have a huge impact is to ignore the obvious evidence in front of you. All you have to do is look at the record with him and without him. It's really that simple.
And that's why you look at some of the Warriors role players that they got in the offseason that you may not look at as championship players now, but hell, who looked at Nemanja Bjelica, Otto Porter, Gary Payton II at the time, all these players that were cobbled together and got it done. And that's I guess, the wishful thinking, right? It's a reason to have a little bit of hope, but you do think that the league's better right now than it was.
It's wishful thinking, but it's not crazy. It's not insane thinking.
You'd be called insane, though, if you had that thought right now, though. If someone came out on the worldwide leader right now and they said the Golden State Warriors are winning the NBA championship, someone would have asked how many milligrams they had that morning.
Well, and, listen, I would say different amounts affect different people in different ways. So don't judge a person by how many milligrams they took this morning. And also, it would be ridiculous because even in the scenario you just painted, right? A lot of things have to go right for the Warriors to do well. And even if everything goes right, it would still be an incredible challenge. So it would be crazy to favor the Warriors. But to say they're in the 5% chance range of things, I don't think is crazy. And to say that if certain things go right, they could really be in the mix. I mean, look, second scorer, yes. You want to play good defense? Yes. You'd like to turn the ball over. There's all sorts of things we can point at to say, if you do this better, you have a better chance of winning. The one absolute requirement for virtually every title of all time is a superstar. And they still have one of the greatest superstars of all time functioning at an incredibly high level. So the hardest part is done.
Yeah.
There's still 24 or so teams that would trade anybody they have for Steph Curry.
Amen.
So,
and everyone, when they talk about the Warriors, man, they just talk about how because of Draymond and because of Curry, the two together, that Draymond moves faster than the defenses can react, right? He's just a step ahead of everyone with his preparation, with his just IQ, with his just innate ability to understand the game of basketball. And he's what makes the Warriors the Warriors. And the other half of that was Steph and Curry knocking down threes at an elite level. And yes, Klay Thompson played a massive part in that. Do not get me wrong. Without the three, you're not winning championships. With that being said, I mean, most of the players that have ever, either been in the Warriors organization like a Matt Barnes or been outside it like a Shumpert, they say that Draymond Green is just as important in all these championships as anyone else.
Yeah, they're lying. Only one guy is the most important, but he's right there. Yes, I hate to be put in a position to denigrate Draymond Green, who I probably have higher on the all-time list than most people. But Steph Curry matters the most, and then Draymond second, which is great. It's still really important, and he's still a 4-time champion and a Hall of Famer and all those things. And one of the most unique players of all time. And again, when people say things like he's washed now, if Draymond Green is washed, it's mentally. And I don't know the answer to that. I don't think he is. But if last year showed anything, it's that he's much closer to the end mentally than physically.
That's wise words from a wise man. And now we head into break. Coming up, what do you want to see in the final game of the preseason for the Golden State Warriors against the Los Angeles Lakers? That's on Friday the 18th. Leave your comments, and we'll continue with Locked On Dubs. Fellas, you never know when the mood's going to strike you, and when it does, you got to be ready. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds and thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's hims.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. One more preseason game to go for Golden State. It's on Friday against the Los Angeles Lakers. Kolsky, kind of want to get your thoughts on this thing, because as of right now, we've seen multiple players in and out of the lineup. The last game they were missing Podziemski with the nose contusion. When we see him back, we'll probably have on the mask.
Yeah.
Mask Brandon Podziemski. Maybe he just pops off. the masked man just goes off for 22 and 8 and has that breakout game. But we saw him and Melton miss the last game. Melton dealing with back spasms, definitely something to look out for, is that was a reoccurring issue last season. Curry's missed a game with the jam finger. Draymond missed a game. So it's Wiggins missed 3. It's been in and out of the lineup for some of these players. Sounds like most of them, all of them. I don't know the injury report heading in, but it sounds like pretty much all of them will play. What are you looking for in your final preseason game?
I think it'd be good to get, a 30-minute night for the guys who are going to be at 35 over the course of the season, right? Get a really not quite full, but close to full night for the guys that you think are going to be playing the full nights for you over the course of the season. So, there's probably 6 or 7 guys that are in that category right now. 8, depending. God bless Quentin Post and Reese Beekman. Maybe let them play the last 5 minutes of the game together, but I would like to see something like a rotation you would consider using in the regular season. And I would like to see, I'm less concerned with the victory, although we know, an undefeated preseason does guarantee a championship. I'm less concerned with the victory than I am with succeeding in their own points of emphasis, if that makes sense. Right? They're gonna shoot. There's enough shooting here that over the course of the season, I believe they'll be a good shooting team. Are they moving the ball the way they want to? Are they getting into transition as frequently and successfully as they want to? Are they defending transition well? Are they looking like a potential top 5 or 7 defensive team in the league, right? Are they communicating on that end? Are people in the right places? This is the dress rehearsal. And I want to see something like regular season performance. I do.
I'm sorry. It just brings me back to the 5th grade. There was a dress rehearsal gone wrong, very wrong. Guys and dolls. It did not go well.
Were you a lead in the show or what?
Was I a cat? No, I was in the audience howling. It was pretty funny. It went wrong. The next year, Wizard of Oz we had, and I was an extra in that. I was one of the Emerald City folk.
Nice.
Yeah. But back to Warriors.
Okay. I don't know. I'm really thinking about you as, were you a munchkin or just like a regular sized person?
I was a townie. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Gonna need some photographic evidence of this at some point.
Yeah.
I'd like to see something like 35, 40 minutes of what looks like a regular season game from Steve Kerr. And I don't know if we'll get that. It's possible he'll go entirely the other way. Rest everybody, which is also a valid choice given all the little nicks and dings that people have picked up over the course of the preseason. Because I may say I want a regular season rotation, but Lord knows I will be very upset if somebody goes down hurt in the last preseason game. So, it's a balance to walk. And I do think there's going to be some aggressive load management over the course of the season if the schedule and record allow for that, because you'd love to get the 6 seed, right? But if you can get the 7 and in the play-in with a healthier Steph and Draymond, I'll probably take that. Because the only thing that's going to matter is health when it comes to the postseason. You're not, even if you could be the 4th seed, I'd rather play a play-in game with a healthy team for this Warriors team anyway.
I mean, think about it. That's where they lucked out in 21-22, right? Steph was hurt right before it, returns in the Denver series. Gary Payton got hurt in the playoffs, but they were deep enough to be able to sustain that until the finals, and then he's a welcome addition when they come back. So, yeah, I mean,
Steph had that little rest right before the postseason that turned out to really help. So,
yeah, it was a foot.
You never know what's going to happen.
Steph and I were dealing with foot issues at the same time. He was back in 2 weeks. I was in a boot for 2 months. So,
for your wedding, no less.
Yeah, no, I made it. I was in the sandal for the wedding.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. Still hopping around on 1 foot. So it was good there. Locked On Warriors, free and available.
No longer wearing the boot, just dangerous.
No, just dangerous. We're back up to 12 on the treadmill at the Orange Theory once a year.
Let's go.
The Orange Theory down by this is actually insider information here for those of you that stuck around this long. First of all, thumbs up, subscribe, audio podcast. Kolsky and I here for you at all times. But Pacifica, man, where the Taco Bell is, right on the beach there. I worked at that Orange Theory, so I'm hoping maybe someone. Why? Guys, that
Wow.
Chuck? Yeah, he used to push us. Hey, the sports industry shut down for a while, man, and it was an honest living, right? Went
Yeah.
down 6 o'clock in the morning and made the people do all out sprints. So that's my athletic background. Anyways, from foot back to the preseason game that's coming up. Let's go with the starting lineup just to end it here because we've given some ideas of rotations. I think maybe earlier in the summer we gave a starting lineup, but now that we're here, what do you think? Last game starting lineup with Wiggins in there at the 2, is that your starting 5, or do you think they're actually going to throw Moody out there for game 1 at the shooting guard position?
Yeah, I think it's
What do you want? What you think?
different answers. I think it's going to be Wiggins or maybe Pajemski. I wish it would be Moody. I really think he's the right choice, and we'll see what happens. And again, I said this yesterday. I'll probably say it again tomorrow or Friday, whenever our next show is. If this is a meritocracy, Moses Moody is your starting shooting guard because he has been the best, period, in the preseason.
So what's your starting 5? Let's end it with this.
Curry, Moody, Kuminga, Draymond, and Trace.
That's yours. What
That's
do you
mine.
think the Warriors are going to do?
If I had to bet it, I would say put Wiggins. They'll put Wiggins in for Moody, but that's tough because Wiggins is also, we'll see what the minutes restriction, if any, is like.
So
day
Curry,
one, so
you think it's going to be Curry? You think it's going to be Wiggins? You think it's going to be Kuminga? You think it's going to be Draymond? And you think it's going to be the starting lineup from the last game?
I do, or maybe Melton. One of those two is what I would expect Steve Kerr to do. I would put Moody in there, and I could be wrong. Maybe that's what Kerr will do too. Let's see.
Hey, we respect the opinions. Season is here. One more preseason game to go. Kolsky, I'm hoping that we're going to do this post-game show. If not, we'll obviously have it the next day, but gotta check the calendar and see if we're able to do it. If we are to miss one this year, now's the time to do it. The last preseason game, final tune-up, and we're here for you every Monday through Friday, regardless. Audio podcast drop in the morning, Monday through Friday. Kolsky, good stuff, man. We'll see you next time.
Later.